All right, let's open up this stack of sources you've shared. We're diving deep today into something genuinely transformative, building incredible mental strength.
Yeah, it's something really important. It's easy, isn't it, to sometimes feel, knocked off course.
Definitely. Life throws things at you, you miss a goal.
Maybe you doubt yourself in a tough spot. The sources you sent over, they offer a really compelling perspective on navigating exactly that.
Absolutely. So, our mission for this deep dive is to pull out the most powerful insights, the real nuggets of wisdom from this material.
To help you forge a mindset that is calm, deeply focused, and, well, genuinely resilient when the pressure is really on.
And these sources aren't just theory, are they?
No, not at all. They lay out what they see as fundamental shifts, almost like key tools you can pick up and use.
Okay.
We're going to explore them, and I think you'll find some surprising angles and definitely some things you can put into practice, like right away.
So, where do we even begin with building this kind of inner toughness? The sources suggest it all starts with a fundamental shift in perspective.
Right. It's about not expecting life to be easy.
Not waiting for smooth sailing, but actually preparing for the storms. Is that it?
That's such a counterintuitive starting point for many people, isn't it?
Yeah.
We tend to think mental strength means being able to handle problems when they happen.
Yeah, like reacting well.
But the sources argue it's about expecting them, framing life not as something that should be easy and problem-free, but as a kind of ongoing training ground.
Like a mental gym. I think I saw that mentioned.
Exactly. The analogy from the source is spot on. If you think of life as a gym, every problem isn't a punishment. It's a weight.
Okay. A weight.
And you have a choice in that moment.
Yeah.
Do you lift it and build strength, or do you, well, collapse under it?
Okay.
The growth, just like in the physical gym,
Mm.
it comes from the resistance, the discomfort.
So the burn, the pressure, that's not a sign something's wrong.
No, it's a sign something's working. Discomfort isn't the enemy. The source basically says discomfort equals growth.
That feels like a game changer right there.
It flips everything. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? The shift is to
What? Like, what's the lesson here?
yeah, okay, what is this teaching me? How is this challenge shaping me?
That's powerful. And thinking about you listening right now, maybe you're working on learning English. If you only ever speak when you feel completely confident, perfect pronunciation, perfect grammar, you're probably not pushing yourself much.
Right. You're staying in the comfort zone.
But if you step into conversations where you stumble, where you feel awkward, where the words don't come easily, that resistance,
That discomfort, that's your mental rep.
that's the red. Okay.
Growth doesn't happen when it's easy. It happens because it's hard. Those moments when you struggle for a word or you mishear something.
Yeah.
It's not failure. That's proof you're in the gym, doing the work.
Okay, so building on that idea of expecting difficulty, even leaning into it, the sources really emphasize that struggles aren't just things to survive.
Right. They're things to use to actually forge strength.
Forge strength, okay.
Yeah, the fire analogy they use is so vivid. Struggles can absolutely burn you, leave you scarred and afraid, or they can forge you, refine you, make you tougher, more resilient. It's all about how you choose to walk through that fire.
They bring up the story of David Goggins as an example. It's pretty extreme, though.
Oh, it's incredibly extreme, but it illustrates the point perfectly. Here's a guy who is, overweight, depressed, working a dead-end job.
And he decides he wants to become a Navy SEAL. Just like that.
Which is already an insane goal from where he was standing. But then you add the requirement. He had to lose over 100 pounds.
In just 3 months.
Yeah. Just to qualify, most people would look at that and just say, impossible, forget it.
But he didn't. He decided the struggle itself was the path.
Waking up at 4 a.m. to run, pushing through physical agony and mental doubt, like every single day.
He wanted to quit constantly, the source says.
Of course. But he kept going because he understood that pushing through that resistance was building him. It wasn't just about the weight loss goal.
And look where it led him becoming this renowned endurance athlete.
His story just hammers home that idea that our perceived limits, the ones that stop us, they're almost always in our heads, not our reality.
It makes me think about learning again. If you're learning English and you freeze when you make a mistake or you get misunderstood,
When you retreat,
yeah, you back off. That's like stopping your workout when your muscles start to burn.
exactly, you're cutting off the growth right when it's happening.
So what's the alternative?
Instead, treat every mispronounced word, every grammatical slip-up as a rep. You're lifting through that moment of struggle.
Fail forward. I like that.
Yeah. Your mistakes aren't proof you're bad at it. They're proof you're in the arena, not watching safely from the sidelines. Keep speaking through the discomfort.
Okay. So we've talked about mindset, expecting difficulty, using struggles. But the sources also flip the script a bit.
They say mental strength isn't just about what you start doing. It's profoundly about what you stop doing.
Ah, the energy eaters.
Things that are silently draining your mental energy.
Absolutely. The sources point to three main culprits: complaining, chasing comfort, and making excuses.
They sound so human, don't they?
Yeah.
Complaining feels good for a second.
It does. It's like a release valve. But what does it actually do?
Not much, I guess.
It locks your focus onto the problem.
Yeah.
It uses up mental energy without contributing anything to the solution. It's passive. It saps your power.
And comfort. That's a tough one because our brains are wired to seek it, right?
Completely. We're constantly drawn to the path of least resistance, the easy way out.
Mhm.
But growth is almost like allergic to comfort. You simply cannot build mental toughness if you are consistently choosing the easy option.
It's like trying to get physically strong while staying glued to the couch.
Exactly. Strength is forged outside your comfort zone. You have to leave the couch. And then there are the excuses. The source calls them the softest pillow. That's memorable.
That phrase is perfect, isn't it? I don't have time. I'm just not good at this. Oh, I'll start tomorrow.
We've all said those.
We all have. These phrases feel like truths, like explanations for why you're stuck. But the sources frame them as limitations you're imposing on yourself.
Disguises for fear?
Pretty much. Disguises for fear of discomfort or maybe fear of failure.
This seems especially powerful if you're learning something new, like English again. If you find yourself saying, oh, I'm just bad at English.
Yeah, that fixed mindset.
Try changing that to, I'm still learning English.
That one word, still, holds so much power. It shifts you from a fixed limitation
to a path of progress.
Exactly. It changes the narrative from I am this way to I am on a journey. Mentally strong people don't wait for the right time or the right feeling.
They create their own momentum.
Right. By taking action, not by finding reasons not to. Catch those energy eaters, complaining, comfort-seeking, excuse-making pause, and replace them with action.
So, building on that idea of taking action and stepping outside of comfort, the sources make it clear that mental strength isn't like a lightning bolt moment.
Yep, definitely not.
It's a system built through small, often uncomfortable daily habits.
It's less about finding a switch you can flip and more about building consistent, repeatable behaviors. It requires showing up and doing the work even, especially when you don't feel like it.
These habits are designed to push you, test your consistency.
And yes, to be uncomfortable. That's kind of the point.
Give me some examples from the source. What kind of uncomfortable daily habits are we talking about?
Well, they mention things like cold showers.
Oh, I've heard about this. Why cold showers?
It's not because cold water is magical in itself. It's because choosing to step into something intensely uncomfortable for a few minutes and staying there.
It trains your discipline.
Exactly. Teaches you that you can handle discomfort. That your brain screaming, get out, doesn't have to control your actions.
That makes sense. It's training that pause and deliberate response we talked about earlier.
Exercise is another one. It's not just for physical health.
Right.
Pushing your body through resistance, enduring the burn, it tells your brain loud and clear. I can handle challenge. I can persevere when things get difficult.
A weak body feeds a weak mind sometimes.
That's the idea. And meditation.
That seems counter to pushing through discomfort, maybe. More about calm.
Well, the sources frame meditation not just as relaxation, but as a mental boot camp. It trains your focus, yes, but crucially, it trains your ability to observe difficult thoughts or feelings without immediately reacting.
So it's training non-reaction.
It teaches you to breathe through internal chaos rather than being swept away by it.
Okay, that reframes meditation beautifully. And if we connect this back to learning English, what's a daily habit there?
A simple micro habit, the source suggests. Record a short voice memo of yourself speaking English every day.
Ooh, that sounds uncomfortable.
It does. Even just 60 seconds. It feels awkward. Maybe your pronunciation is messy, you stumble, but doing it consistently.
Showing up for that small, uncomfortable task daily?
It builds confidence and fluency in ways that just reading never will.
Right.
It's putting yourself on the spot, deliberately.
That daily discipline. The sources call it your mental armor.
Yeah, it's not visible on the outside, but when life hits you with chaos, that consistency, that trained ability to do hard things, it protects you. It keeps you moving forward.
Okay. And when chaos hits or things just don't go your way, what happens to your emotions? That brings us to another key area. Mastering emotional control.
Yeah, that's a big one. We've all had those moments where plans unravel or someone says something sharp.
And suddenly you just react. Emotions take the wheel.
Absolutely. And the source isn't saying strong people don't have intense emotions. Of course they do.
They're just not controlled by them.
Exactly. They're saying strong people don't let those emotions drive. The core skill here is cultivating that space between the stimulus, the thing that happens, and your response.
Pause.
The pause.
Yeah.
Breathe, then choose your response.
That pause feels tiny, but it's everything, isn't it?
It is. It's the difference between an impulsive reaction you might regret and a deliberate choice. The analogy they use is powerful. Emotions are like waves.
Waves.
They rise, they build, they crash. If you're caught unprepared, surfing blindly, you get wiped out. But if you learn to understand them, to swim with them or through them,
You gain power over how you navigate them.
exactly. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about learning to move through them consciously.
And think about applying this when you're speaking English, especially under pressure or when you're nervous,
Your instinct might be to rush, to get the words out before you forget them.
which often makes things worse.
Totally. But if you pause, take a breath, and deliberately slow your pace,
It helps you think, find the right words.
and probably even improves your pronunciation.
Exactly. Speaking slowly and intentionally when you feel nervous is a perfect blend of emotional control and language skill.
You're not letting the anxiety dictate your pace or clarity.
Right. You're choosing control.
Okay, let's talk about the F word, failure, the one most people dread. And yet, the sources are adamant. Failure is not the enemy. It's your teacher.
Your teacher.
It shows up not to stop you, but to show you how to get better.
It's like growth in a slightly rude outfit. I think that was in there.
Yes, that line from the source sticks with you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like disappointment, maybe even devastation in the moment.
But its purpose is feedback.
Purely feedback. Most people either run from failure or they let it define them. The mentally strong treat it like data.
They analyze the feedback from the rude outfit. What can I learn from this?
Right. They understand that failure is not optional on the path to mastery. Every single person you look up to has failed countless times.
Probably far more times than most people have even tried something difficult.
Exactly. So if you've messed up recently, if you've failed, that's actually a good sign. It means you're not playing it safe. You're in the game.
And for you learning English, this is so critical. You will make mistakes.
Guaranteed.
You'll mispronounce words, forget grammar rules, use the wrong vocabulary when that happens.
Don't freeze. Don't apologize excessively. Smile, maybe correct yourself if you can, and keep speaking.
Own the moment.
Yes. That's confidence. Every slip-up is just a lesson. Reframe it instantly. When you stop fearing failure and start seeing it purely as feedback,
It loses its power over you.
it becomes a tool for leveling up.
Which brings us to another critical piece. Cultivating a resilient attitude. Because even with all these tools, life will keep throwing curveballs.
Oh, constantly. That's the only guarantee, right. And the sources point out that resilience isn't about never getting knocked down.
It's about how you are when you are getting hit.
Precisely. Mentally strong people don't descend into panic or self-pity or play the victim when things go wrong.
They don't fall apart.
They don't. They pause, they assess the new reality, and they figure out their response. It's about maintaining a kind of calm groundedness even when everything around them is shaking.
Like that analogy. Be a mountain, not a leaf.
Yes, the wind is going to blow, things are going to hit you, but are you going to be a leaf tossed randomly about by every gust?
Or are you going to be a mountain? Rooted and unshakable, enduring the storm.
That's the goal. It's not about pretending the storm isn't happening.
No, it's real.
But it's about choosing how you exist within it. You don't control the circumstances, but you control your mindset in those circumstances.
That deliberate choice, that's where true strength lies.
Absolutely.
And a simple mindset shift you can practice, especially with something challenging like learning English, instead of focusing on the huge gap between where you are and fluency.
Asking, why can't I speak like a native yet? Which is so common.
Shift to, what is one small thing I can do today to improve?
That small question creates immediate forward momentum. It changes your focus from a daunting, potentially defeating end goal.
To an actionable step right here, right now.
Exactly. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for progress, that I'll figure it out attitude, that resilient belief that you can navigate challenges.
That's what fuels consistent growth no matter how unpredictable life gets.
And finally, the glue that holds all of these pieces together, the engine that makes the system run. Discipline.
Discipline. Discipline beats motivation every time.
The sources are unequivocal on this.
Yeah.
Motivation is fleeting. It's that spark of excitement, that burst of energy when you start something new.
It feels great.
It does, but it's unreliable. It fades. Discipline, though. Discipline is the firewood.
It's firewood. Okay.
It's what you add to the fire day after day to keep the warmth going, even when you don't feel that initial spark anymore.
There will be days you absolutely do not want to do the thing you know you should do.
Oh, guaranteed. Skip the workout, put off studying English, procrastinate on that project.
Those are the moments discipline whispers.
Do it anyway. It's not about feeling like it. It's about doing it because it aligns with who you want to be and what you want to achieve.
Listening to that whisper and acting on it even when it's hard.
That's where the real transformation happens.
And again, it doesn't have to be grand gestures. A consistent English routine, even just 10 minutes a day.
Day after day.
It adds up to incredible progress over time. One focused session daily builds far more than a marathon session once a month.
It's the compound effect. We tend to wildly overestimate what we can achieve in a single day or a week.
And dramatically underestimate what we can achieve in a year or 5 years through small, consistent daily action.
Discipline is what allows that compounding to happen. It builds the habits that build your future.
So the message pulled from these sources is clear. Stop waiting.
Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, the burst of motivation. It might not come.
Start now. Start messy. Start small.
Just start. And most importantly, don't stop. Consistency, fueled by discipline, is what makes you truly unstoppable.
Wow, that was a deep dive, covering a lot of ground straight from the sources you said.
Yeah, a lot of powerful ideas in there.
If it feels like there's work to be done after hearing all this, that's not a bad thing, right?
Not at all. That just means you're ready to engage with it.
So the core message is really this. Building mental strength is an active process.
It's about intentionally shifting your mindset, leaning into struggles, stripping away those draining habits.
Admitting to daily discipline, taking control of your emotional responses.
Extracting lessons from failure, and consciously choosing a resilient attitude.
Yeah. It's not waiting for strength to just appear. It's building it, piece by piece, day by day.
Exactly. So, maybe we can leave you with a question to sit with after this deep dive, building on everything we've discussed.
Yeah.
Thinking about these areas of mental strength, expecting difficulty, using struggle, cutting energy eaters, daily habits, emotional control, failure as feedback, resilient attitude, choosing discipline, what is the single smallest, most uncomfortable action you could take today?
Just one.
Just one. To start building just one of them.
Just one small, uncomfortable step. What would it be? Think about that. Thanks for joining us